And we're live.
With Paranormal Spirits. This is where we come to get our booze on. We talk about the booze, the things that go bump in the night. And I get to do it with all my booze. I'm Mike Black. This is Alyssa Black, my wife.
Hello.
And my best friend, John Burkett, who is rearranging
Put your pants on. Lord.
He's rearranging something over there. I don't know. It was
your hand
belt
out your
buckle
pants.
or zipper or...
Belt was kind of pushing into the belly.
That's
Gotcha.
what they all say.
Oh, well, we've got a spooky, scary story for you guys tonight, and this one comes with a trigger warning. There is some mention of sexual molestation later on in the story, so just want to give everybody a chance. If this bothers you or you can't hear this, then don't listen to this one. Just skip on over till next week.
But hit like.
Yeah, but hit like and subscribe before you go, you know. But before we get into that story, I want to tell you guys about all the places that you can listen to us on the web and see us. And so if you're listening on a podcast right now, you can go to YouTube and watch us act goofy in front of each other. And on YouTube, we are 3B Paranormal Spirits. We also have an Instagram page, and that is paranormal _dash, and it's spelled out DASH _spirits. TikTok is the same thing. It's paranormal _dash _spirits. Twitter is MWBlack1966.
I thought you got Twitter fixed.
You got Twitter fixed.
I did get Twitter fixed?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
okay, what is it now?
Spirits.
This week. It's
3B Paranormal Spirits, isn't it?
I don't remember. Will you look it up for me while I'm calling out the rest of the stuff?
You sent a screenshot from it.
I did? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
Bruh.
Hey, it's been a busy week.
Bruh.
I mean, it has been busy. So we also have a website, and that's paranormal-spirits.com. If you go there, that is like a launch pad for everything else. You can go to all the different sites from paranormal-spirits.com. And while you're there, check out our Boozy's Boutique. And this is where Boozy's Boutique is where we have all our swag. And if you're watching on YouTube right now, you can see we have caps and beanies. We have dad caps. We have mugs. We have cups.
Paranormal _dash written out _spirits.
Okay, so Twitter is now the same as Instagram and TikTok. Yay! Y'all happy? Hey, I'm happy. Makes it easier. We can just do paranormal _dash _spirits. And you can catch us in all those places.
All of them.
All of them. Like Pokemon. Got to catch them all. All right. So tonight we are drinking...
all the things.
Bourbon. Oh. So John, tell us about this. John always gets the privilege.
They need to start putting bigger font on it. Well, it's this Woodford Reserve Kentucky Straight Wheat Whiskey.
Wheat.
So it's not bourbon. It's wheat whiskey.
So it's not a bourbon.
This is made out of wheat.
So is it 100% weed or a percentage thereof, or
I believe this is 100% wheat because it would say it would just say Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey, and it would be like if it was a wheated one.
Mm-hmm. So we're drinking wheated whiskey.
Versailles, Kentucky. Versailles.
Tell me about it, Alyssa. Did you look it up?
Yep.
90.4 proof.
Okay.
Proprietary batch.
Proprietary means
The sponsors of the Kentucky Derby.
Okay. So now this smells like bourbon.
The world's finest bourbon.
Yeah, that's debatable.
That's what it says. This is just a regular one, right?
This is wheated whiskey. Wheat whiskey. Straight Kentucky straight wheat whiskey.
Yeah. Comprised of more than 200 detectable flavor notes, from bold grain and wood to sweet aromatics, spice, and fruit and floral notes. Tasting notes. Clean, brilliant honey amber in color. Taste. Rich, chewy, rounded, and smooth with complex citrus, cinnamon, and cocoa. Toffee, caramel, chocolate, and spice notes abound.
Let's see if I believe all that.
It says it smells like faint vanilla and tobacco spice.
Cilantro.
Cilantro. I sneak peeked. I forgot. I sipped it, but it ain't bad.
It reminds me of Weller's.
It'll get her done.
Do you get toffee, caramel, chocolate, spicy notes abound?
I
get the spice notes.
Mm-hmm. I think I get a little toffee out of that.
Here's the finish. Silky smooth, almost creamy at first with a long, warm, satisfying tail. It actually has a tail. It says.
That's a long, satisfying tail. Well, now once I verify my age, I'll tell you what the mash bill is.
90.4 proof. Calm down.
That went down the wrong hole.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing happened to county.
So this is 52% wheat.
Okay.
Followed by malt, 20%, corn, 20%, and 8% rye.
So I'm going to try it out.
Uniquely crafted whiskey boasts fruit and floral flavors.
I would give this a thumbs up.
It's not bad.
We've had this on airplanes. You see this on airplanes.
Oh, yeah. They always serve it on there.
And they remember they told us that it sells out like it does with Tito's.
All right. So we've partaken of our BOOZE.
That's better than some wheated bourbons I've had.
Yeah.
It's smooth.
Yeah.
It's bright though. It's
better than JB Rolling Wheated.
got a kick.
All right. Let's get into the BOOS tonight. And this is a tale of the Smurl Haunting.
Two cities?
No, not two cities. They're Smurl Haunting. So the Smurl Haunting was one of the famous Ed and Lorraine Warren, yeah, from the Conjuring universe. And so anyway, we'll get started here. In 1972, the costliest hurricane to ever hit the United States East Coast was Hurricane Agnes. It caused $2.1 billion in damage. That is $15.2 billion in today's money.
When was this?
1972.
72.
Mm-hmm. So the hurricane's death toll was 128, and the effects of Agnes were widespread all the way from the Caribbean, however you prefer.
It's Caribbean.
Yeah. Not if you're singing Caribbean Queen.
Caribbean Queen.
Yeah, that's the one. There you go. Good job, John. All the way up to Canada, with most of the east coast of the United States affected, and damage was heaviest in Pennsylvania. And this is where Agnes was the state's wettest tropical cyclone ever.
In Pennsylvania?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know that sounds
weird. They don't even have coast? I guess they do.
Yeah.
Wow, that's so weird. Normally it's Florida.
Right.
Or Texas.
Yeah.
Or Louisiana.
But so anyways, it cost thousands to be evacuated, and the Smurls, Janet, Jack, and their 4 young children, Heather, Shannon, Karen, and Dawn, were among them. The Smurls were homeless and desperate, seeking refuge with Jack's parents in West Pittston. That's hard to say. There's an S in there. Pittston. So they, as fortune would have it, in 1973, Jack's parents stumbled upon an old duplex at 330 Chase Street in West Pittston. Originally built in 1896, it was a diamond in the rough, but a potential haven for the Smurl family. A bold decision was made. They would reside on one side, while Jack and Jet and the kids would occupy the other side. With their relocation costs covered by Jack's parents, they soon found themselves settling into their newly acquired dwelling on Chase Street. The neighborhood appeared friendly, offering perfect setting to raising their children. They plunged headlong into renovating the slightly worn-down duplex, putting all their energy into making it feel like home. So this is like one of those Dream comes true. We've been saved from the hurricane by my parents who've let me move in on the other side, and then it all goes to hell after that. Excuse me. As the repairs progressed, they couldn't shake the feeling that something lurked in the shadows. Unexplained events, strange noises, and this pervasive sense of dread began to plague the Smurls. Doors creaked open on their own, objects moved mysteriously, and the atmosphere turned palpably sinister. What was intended to be a new beginning quickly transformed into a living nightmare. As they earnestly worked on repairing and renovating their new home, little did they know that their actions were stirring dormant energies within its walls. A slumbering presence, perhaps lying in wait for eons, was awakened by each swing of the hammer and every stroke of the paint. At first, seemingly harmless oddities began to unfold. Tools would mysteriously vanish, only to reappear hours later in unexpected places. Strange old stains would seep through the fresh coats of paint. Maybe they didn't use kills like they should have.
I was about to say they should have killed that shit.
But evidently...
That's mold.
You know, and unplugged kitchen appliances caught fire, leaving the family bewildered and unnerved. Yet despite these occurrences, the Smurl family pushed on, grateful for the shelter of their new home. Jack and Janet determined to rebuild their lives and find hope in positive developments. Jack had served in the Navy and become a neuropsych technician. He secured a better job and was even promoted, while also taking on the role of coaching his daughter's softball team. The children settled into the new school, excelling in their studies, and Jenna's pregnancy added to the joy of the family's life. Community involvement flourished as Janet led an anti-drunk driving initiative at a local high school.
She's one of those mad mothers.
Mad mother. No, it was early 70s, so that would make sense.
It was still legal then.
I don't think so. No, not DWI, no. There are probably some states where you could drive with an open container at that point, but you couldn't drive drunk, you know. By 1974, an ominous shift began to unfold. Mary Smurl, Jack's mother, suffered a heart attack, plunging the family into financial hardships. Coinciding with these troubles, something inexplicable began to manifest itself. Janet started hearing her mother-in-law's voice calling out to her, urging her for assistance while she was recovering at home. Rushing to her aid, Janet was met with baffling occurrences. Mary would sometimes be unconscious or asleep, and yet her voice echoed as if beckoning for help, leaving everyone attributing the phenomenon to stress and exhaustion.
They're in a duplex, right?
Mm-hmm.
Was she saying, hello from the other side?
Yes.
She probably was. Shout out to Adele.
I need help on the other side.
Oh. But as the days turned into nights, the strangeness escalated. I cannot talk. The voice grew more insistent, and ethereal whispers danced through the halls, adding to the family's distress. A palpable sense of otherworldly presence began to grip the household, and once hopeful atmosphere was now shrouded in shadows. After Janet's eerie encounters, Mary too found herself entangled in the web of the unexplained. Just like Janet, Mary started hearing her name being called out as if by an invisible force. Perplexed and unable to make sense of it, Mary recounts these strange occurrences to her daughter-in-law, only to be met with confusion. The stubborn stains that were previously concealed under fresh paint resurfaced, mocking the family's attempts to cover them up. New unexplained stains also began to appear, even manifesting on the hardwood floors and carpet, leaving everyone perplexed. By 1975, the haunting intensified. Now, you notice how these years are just rolling by. We've done 72, 73, 74. We're up to 75 now. The haunting intensified. The oldest child in the family became a target of the malevolent entity. In the dead of the night, she awakens to an overwhelming sense of fear, finding herself frozen as translucent figures loom above her bed. Janet, too, becomes a victim of an unseen force, experiencing violent and disturbing encounters. Both Janet and the older daughter, Dawn, stated that they were sexually molested, leaving them feeling violated and unclean.
By the
spirits, yes, in the house. or demons, the force that was in the house. The paranormal activity seemed to surge, especially when Jack is away, leaving Janet to confront the terror alone. Adding to their misery, the Smurls suffer from a string of inexplicable and destructive incidents. Appliances catch fire, even when unplugged. We talked about that. They would fix water pipes, solder them, and then they would burst. And this was causing both structural and financial damage to them.
That's
and they're already
causing those stains, was bursting water pipes.
Yeah, but usually that's not a stain like that. That's, you don't get, these are nasty, like blood type stains or something. As 1977 dawns, the paranormal presence unleashes more aggressive onslaught. The family's radio starts switching on and off at strange hours, particularly when they're trying to sleep. Bathroom sinks begin to turn themselves on, draining away what little money the family has left. Drawers open and close on their own, and the pungent stench of rotting meat permeates the air, described by the family as a smell of death. Toilets flush without any human touch, heightening the feeling of being besieged by unseen forces. As the haunting escalated, the Smurls found themselves confronting a relentless and malevolent presence. Strange sounds of footsteps echoed throughout the house, but unlike before, they didn't fade away quickly or stay confined to a specific area. Instead, the sounds would travel all over the house now, leaving the family on edge. The pervasive stench of decay permeated the entire residence, lingering for extended periods and causing immense discomfort. Now, up until this point, Jack had managed to avoid being directly targeted by the paranormal force. However, one fateful night after a tiring day of work, he experienced a horrifying encounter. As he lay in bed, his sheets were abruptly pulled away, and he felt an overwhelming sensation of numerous hands touching and grabbing him. Fear consumed him, leaving him sleepless and questioning his skepticism toward the strange occurrences his wife had witnessed. So up until this point, then this is 1975, I believe, 77, I'm sorry. Jack had not been assaulted or, confronted by the entity.
Did the parents already own this building? Were they already living on that one side?
So that was in 73.
So they were. Had they had anything happen before?
No, the parents bought it right before they bought it, and they said, "Hey, we got this duplex. We'll have our
so they
kids
hadn't
move
really
in."
lived in it either.
No, they had just moved in. Nothing is happening on their side. It's all on Janet and Jack's side.
Ghosts are on the other
side. Ghosts are on the other side.
Janet and Jack. I thought you were going to say Janet Jackson.
No, Janet and Jack are the ones that are experiencing all this and their kids. And later on, it even talks about the dog being assaulted.
Goodness.
But I'm sorry.
I said, "Oh my goodness."
Yeah. So up until this point, Jack had managed to avoid being directly targeted by the paranormal force. However, one fateful night after a tiring day, I read this, they had grabbed him in bed. Amidst the turmoil, Janet gave birth to twin baby girls, expanding their family to 6 children now.
That's a lot of people.
That's a lot of people. But with the arrival of the twins, malevolent presence seemed to intensify, displaying a malicious intent. It grew more aggressive, as if driven by jealousy or hatred for the living. One chilling morning, while the children were at school and the rest of the adults were out, Janet entered the kitchen to pour herself a cup of coffee. Suddenly, her blood ran cold, and she saw a translucent figure standing in the middle of the kitchen, with a stain seemingly forming directly beneath it. The entity had hollow eyes and appeared frozen in place. In the blink of an eye, it vanished, leaving Janet shaken and bewildered. As time passed, Janet continued to hear her name being called out, even when she was alone. The voices would often mimic her mother-in-law, Mary, who wasn't present. Janet repeatedly checked, hoping to find a rational explanation. She was left with a haunting truth. She truly felt isolated and surrounded by an unseen malevolence. As a strange occurrence escalated, they soon realized that they were not alone in experiencing the horrors. The eerie sounds of violent fights echoed from the other side of the duplex.
Hello from the other side.
Yeah, that. Okay.
Side.
So, of the duplex, making Jack's parents deeply concerned for Janet and the children's safety. One night, unable to bear it any longer, Jack's father bravely investigated, only to find silence as the family on the other side slept, leaving him bewildered. Soon after Mary, Jack's mother, had her own terrifying encounter. Alone in the duplex, she heard her name whispered seemingly from Janet's voice. As she followed the sound, she was confronted by some translucent being Janet had described mimicking her voice. Filled with terror, Mary rushed to Jack and Janet's door, seeking refuge from the malevolent presence. As the family shared their individual experiences, they came to the chilling realization the force haunting them was anything but friendly. Shannon, the young 7-year-old, became the next target of the entity's rage. A glass light fixture fell and injured her, raising alarms about malicious intent. Financially constrained and trapped in their supposed fresh start, the family's nightmare intensified. Shannon's diary revealed her terrifying experiences where she claimed to wake up floating above the bed, sometimes being hurled across the room with great force. One night, the climax of these attacks occurred when she was thrown down the stairs, leaving her hysterical and in pain. Even their loyal German shepherd Simon fell victim to the entity's attacks, floating in the air, bewildered, and thrown against the wall. Janet herself experienced horrifying incidents, waking up in the middle of the night, floating and assaulted, with Jack seemingly unable to wake from a state of paralysis beside her. So he didn't even wake up. So along with these gruesome manifestations, creepy activity plagued the duplex. Scratching noises emerged from within the walls. The family could hear deep, drawn-out breaths behind them, sending shivers down their spines. One night, after a hard day's work, Jack sought solace in front of the TV to unwind, but on this particular night, he found himself fully awake and coherent, yet unable to move, as if trapped in a glue-like paralysis. To his horror, he came face to face with the demon haunting their lives. The malevolent entity grabbed him, slammed him into the floor, and mercilessly bashed his head into the hardwood floor before vanishing. From that moment, Jack and the entire family lived in fear, unable to relax, trapped in their own home, and uncertain of how to escape the nightmare. So finally, 13 years later, they reach out to Ed and Lorraine Warren. And so these people have
in
lived
the late 80s, so they stayed in
85, 86. And here they reach out. The Warrens agreed to visit the Smurl family, and after a thorough investigation lasting 6 months, they believe the house was infested by 4 entities. One was an old woman, seemingly harmless and trapped within the home. Another was a very angry and violent younger woman. The third entity was a vengeful man who had taken lives and hanged a century ago. And finally, a powerful demon controlled the others, feeding on the family's fear and discord. After months of documenting the haunting experience, a strange phenomena themselves, the Warrens concluded the situation was dire. They brought in Father McKenna, a Vatican-sanctioned exorcist, but his efforts only escalated malevolence, and the demon's grip extended beyond the house, targeting family members directly with horrific visions and physical attacks. As the torment intensified, their daughter Karen fell seriously ill with an unexplained fever, and the demonic presence continued to afflict the entire family. Despite the failed exorcisms, the Warrens persisted and convinced the Smurl family to allow a second attempt. During the second exorcism, chilling EVPs were captured taunting and laughing at the exorcist's efforts. The malevolent force remained undeterred, leaving the family to endure the unending nightmare. No escape seemed possible, and they were left to confront the unimaginable horrors that plagued their lives. After enduring torment, even on a camping trip to the Poconos, the family returned home in desperation, seeking help. A local TV show called People Are Talking. Despite remaining anonymous during the interview, their plea went unanswered, and the demons retaliated, unleashing new horrors upon them. One morning, Jack was preparing for work and encountered a grotesque creature resembling a man-pig hybrid.
Man-bear-pig.
So it had the body of a man and the head of a pig, standing ominously by the door. The terrifying encounter shook him to the core. Later that day, Janet was attacked by a hand reaching up through the mattress, choking her.
Absolutely not.
Strange snarling noises like that of a pig echoed from within the walls, intensifying their nightmare. In August of '86, the Smurl family decided it was time to share their story with Wilkes-Barre Sunday newspaper. Hoping for assistance, however, instead of help, their home became a tourist attraction. Attracting skeptics and curious onlookers, even some neighbors turned on them, accusing them of fabricating the story for financial gain. Amidst the chaos, they were contacted by a medium named Mary Alice Brinkman, who confirmed the presence of 4 entities in their home. 3 were human spirits identified as Abigail, Patrick, and Patrick's wife. The 4th entity was an immensely powerful demon, reinforcing the Warrens' beliefs. The press coverage caught the attention of Scranton Catholic Diocese, who offered to take over the investigation. Meanwhile, the Warrens continued their efforts, enlisting several priests for a mass exorcism and arranging for Bishop McKenna to conduct a final exorcism. For a brief period, the ritual seemed successful and the disturbances ceased for about 3 months. But as winter set in just before Christmas of '86, a demon returned to torment Jack once again, this time beckoning him to allow it to take over. After countless nights of torment, Jack Smurl clutched a gifted rosary in his pocket and prayed with all his might. Miraculously, the demon vanished, bringing a temporary respite. Yet, their relief was short-lived as a putrid...
Respite?
Yes, respite. I'm sorry. It is respite.
Also, by the way, it's Wilkes-Barre.
Know what I say?
Wilkes-Barre is spelled bar, but they say I heard it's pronounced Wilkes-Barre.
I've actually heard both, so I believe you. But it's kind of like Palestine and Palestine.
You.
Yet their relief was short-lived as the putrid smells and violent manifestations returned day after day, leaving the family frustrated, hopeless, and exhausted. Determined to escape the horrors of their duplex on Chase Street, the Smurls saved enough money to move to a new town. Seeking a fresh start, far from the prying eyes of skeptics, to their dismay, the demon seemed not tied to the property but to the family. The haunting resumed soon after they settled into their new home.
Who was playing with the Ouija board?
Yeah, no doubt.
I don't know. Somebody must have been.
Throwing a dog.
So this went on for 13 years by the time the Warrens got involved. So in 1988, the church finally sanctioned a 4th exorcism. This time at the new residence. It seemed to bring the family the peace they had long yearned for. Now, after all of this, in 1988, a book was written by author Robert Curran with Jack and Janet Smurl named The Haunted. The book's financial success remains unclear. That's it.
Is that not a movie too? I've heard that.
I think that is going to be, or is, Conjuring 4, I believe. But the thing that got me about this one, and it's a little bit different from the other ones that I've read about. Usually people are like, okay, so this thing's been harassing me and tormenting me, and okay, I'm out of here. I'm gone. Right?
Time to move.
These people stuck it out, man.
I mean, but...
How do you do that?
Nice house. Too bad we can't stay.
I mean, I'm not going to do it where it's throwing me, my kids, my dog. Like, you never hear the pets are really affected. I mean, at least in the stories that you you hear. But I mean, I'm out.
So it was 13 years.
The Warrens have to stay there for 6 months.
13 years before before the Warrens ever showed up, and then that was in '85 or '86, I forget. But then it was another 3 years before, even after they showed up, before they were able to do something and get rid of it. And I've read several other accounts. What actually happened when the Vatican was finally involved, the Warrens reached out to this priest. Well, I take that back. He was not a priest. He had been trained at the Vatican to be an exorcist. And they brought him in on the case. And he basically wrote to the Vatican and said, look, we're not doing right by these people. We're not doing what the church is supposed to do. We're supposed to bring bring these people peace and bring them help. And so he basically shamed them into coming in and doing that fourth exorcism. And that's what it took. And that was I forget that guy's name now, but he was one of the Vatican exorcists, like the Pope's exorcist or whatever.
Russell Crowe?
Yeah, Russell Crowe showed up.
Good eye.
I find the stuff by the Warrens really interesting because there's some really spooky stories and a lot of theirs. It seems like it's always demonic, whenever they're involved. But I guess they
Sounds familiar.
Huh?
Sounds familiar.
Well, yes, it does, doesn't it? But we're not talking about ZB tonight. But what, you have a
so
question on your
it finally
face?
remedied, like after the fourth exorcism?
It took 4 exorcisms, and
Do they still live there? I mean,
they
No,
moved.
the fourth one was in a new. They had
That was
followed
at a new
them.
place,
okay.
but it had followed them to the new residence.
I wonder if it originated with them or if it originated with the house. Like you said, who's doing the Ouija board?
Or maybe it was just so. I've read a lot about this, and
Somebody had something.
and the guy, the one guy that had murdered some people, and then after he murdered them, then he was convicted and hung. I don't know if it was on the property, but obviously he wasn't a nice guy, and so I don't know if there was something demonic already there, and when they got there, because it's like anytime you start messing with someplace and remodeling, you hear about that all the time. We started remodeling, and it's like it pisses the spirits off, and they don't want anything changed, and they get pissed off when you start remodeling.
Y'all had this
The patio cover back here.
Here.
Since we don't already have ghosts wandering around the house and haunting the place, then probably nothing's going to happen. But
I hope not. I ain't down for that.
where we used to work, when they started remodeling, then activity kicked up, after that. Remember?
I was only there after the remodel, dear.
Oh, were you? That's right. Okay.
I came in with it looking the same way it looked when I left 5 years later.
Okay. Well, it did pick up after that. But that's pretty common. You read about that. You hear about that a lot. So maybe them coming in and so aggressively trying to spruce this place up and make it nice. Maybe that pissed the demons off. Maybe there was that it wasn't just all unicorns and rainbows like they tried to portray. The perfect family. And
Maybe some of that fighting and screaming that they heard from the other side that the parents heard. Maybe that was actually.
Well, here's the thing. There were reports, people would call in to the police about fighting in this house, and the Smurls wouldn't even be home. They would hear the screaming and hollering and fighting and stuff crashing and banging and all this. So they're thinking, oh God, Jack Smurl's drunk again, beating his wife, and
Oh, Jack.
nobody's home. So obviously there was something going on. They would see the lights flashing on and off in the place. This is the neighbors. And there's also reports, and I didn't put it in here, I just felt it was overkill because there's a lot of, there's just example after example after example, but Jack was assaulted by a succubus.
Nice.
Yeah, and so evidently when you read or you hear the account of this thing that attacked him, it wouldn't have been nice at all. It said that, he gives a vivid description of this thing, and he calls it a female, and then Ed Warren said, you have to remember it's not a female, it's an it. It's not a male
It's a
or
they,
female.
them.
I don't know. But I ain't trying to get canceled, so. But anyway.
Where was this at? The location?
In Pittston, Pennsylvania.
What is it with the East Coast?
Pittston, Pennsylvania. But he talks
Scranton diocese, right? So that's around Scranton, Lackawanna County.
So he was talking about how this thing had attacked him, and it was said he could feel the skin, and sometimes it looked like an older woman, missing most of her teeth. The ones that were there were blackened and broken, and
she had summer teeth.
Some are there, some are gone. And then, and she had scales on part of her body, oozing pustules on her body.
What?
I mean, if you're gonna do the succubus thing, at least
be hot.
Try, be hot.
Yeah. Well, I would prefer it to be hot if it were going to attack me. I wouldn't want some ugly, horrendous succubus attacking me, but I would want it to be a hot succubus.
Yeah.
Not
usually.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not for succubuses at all. Succubi at all. But
so if you were getting molested by an incubus, would you want it to be a hot incubus, or
yes,
maybe he looks like Tommy Shelby or something, or
yeah, absolutely,
with an Irish accent?
Yeah, absolutely,
right?
Who better? I mean, yeah.
So that's all I got for that.
So it's down the road from Wilkes Barre / Wilkes-Barre. It's just north of there.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Oh wait, you know what? We forgot. What's the price point on this?
Oh, dang it.
Oh, Alyssa.
I'm sorry, I failed.
Alyssa.
What is the price point on this? Well, it depends on how much you're, I'm always so used to seeing this in the airlines. It's like, how much does your airplane ticket cost?
I swear to God, I don't remember the price point on that.
You didn't buy it, did you? You did?
I did. Don't tell me I didn't buy it.
Oh,
I bet they have it on the interwebs.
Yeah, well, our person who's supposed to
I'm sorry, you're supposed to ask that? That's my fault.
What?
I am so sorry.
You are not on your mic at all. You're way over there, and it makes it sound really hollow, and I don't understand why you're so aggressive tonight, but okay. And you don't have to get all the way in it either.
I'm getting all the way in it to look at you. What size is this?
I do know that Alyssa's editing sound next time. I want to say I paid about $40.
So can you go see this home?
You just gave the address.
I know. I mean, is there anybody living in it? I mean,
Pittston, Pennsylvania. I didn't look to see if anybody was still living there. It was built.
I know
in
the Smurls moved, and they're haunting ghosts. Moved
We start
with them.
typing in 330 Chase Street. It auto fills in
with Pittston.
With Pittston.
I'm sure it does. So.
Oh. And then your search brings up Smurl Haunting House. Yeah. Is it on the market?
Well, I still don't understand. I'm going to tell you this right now. If I feel haunted in any way, 13 years later, my arse is not going to be in that
I'm not going to be in that house anymore, no.
That's not happening.
That's too long.
Well, that looks haunted.
Does it?
Yeah, look at it.
Does it look rough? Oh, yeah, that's totally haunted.
Doesn't strike me.
Okay. I think that's it.
Alrighty, like and subscribe.
Smash that subscribe button. It really is important.